Welcome back to Over the Horizon, a Bitcoin podcast. Today I'm joined by Gary Cardone. Gary, how's it going?
Good, Joe. How you doing?
Doing well, doing really well. You and I we've been chatting in Twitter Spaces for quite a while. Lots to talk about. But the first thing that I want to ask you, and this is actually something that you quote tweeted, I asked the Twitter audience what they'd like me to ask you, and you want to be able to define freedom. So the first thing I'll ask you is, how would you define freedom?
Freedom to me is defined as being able to say no to anything, anyone, anytime. It also means to be able to say yes to anything, anyone, anytime. To me, that's really the perfect definition of freedom. Is that, a lot of people use this word happiness, and I don't think happiness has a definition. I've stopped chasing happiness. It's just so elusive, dude. It's, I don't know anyone that's actually grabbed it. Joy, I see the joy. The joy comes from me producing something, but the freedom to be able to withstand attacks, and I just don't think, I think we've not to get too philosophical here this early on in the conversation, but we have grossly mispriced freedom and not protected it. Just like the people that bought $3 Bitcoin and lost it, they didn't respect it. They didn't price it correctly relative to its value. And when you unvalue or devalue something not properly, you lose it. And I think I think we've lost our freedom. Most certainly Europe has lost their freedom to even speak. So this is a slippery slope that unless you do something about the slipperiness of it, it just keeps getting worse. So I find it really interesting that how many people are shocked by that definition. And then people go, wow, I don't actually think ever about really, really defining the word free or freedom. Anyway, thanks for asking.
Of course. Yeah, no, and it's usually that's like an end of show question. You leave people with a philosophical call to action. But I think it's good to kind of frame up the discussion. And it's, I was saying something similar last week. I had done a show with someone else, and one of the things that they asked me was, what other assets do you invest in other than Bitcoin? And I'm sure they were expecting some kind of monetary asset answer. But what I said was freedom. Because ultimately what we're trying to buy, right? Well, the reason we're trying to accumulate wealth is because we want the freedom that you just defined, which is the ability to say no to what you want to and to say yes to what you want to. And we kind of see this, obviously in the United States, I say, and it's just a plain simple fact, the United States is the most free and open capital markets in the world. But you have the polar opposite end of the spectrum over in Europe where, their freedoms are being infringed every single day. It's not enshrined in any sort of founding document, any sort of document that their government follows. And so as a result, those freedoms can be trampled. And so I suppose for people in the United States who are kind of on the anti-freedom side, what do you think's preventing them from just looking across the pond and seeing what's happening and changing their tune? Because clearly, from censorship to taking away guns to talking about banning knives over in the United Kingdom and the rest of Europe, it's gotten pretty bad. And you look at their economic situation, and it's even worse. And so why do you think it's so hard for a lot of people, particularly my age, there are a lot of socialists, a lot of communists, etc., to grasp that this is something that we have to fight for, otherwise we'll lose it and we'll wind up like those guys across the pond?
Well, first thing I would do is look at do you really have a free market, a free capital? Now, you said we have the most. Okay, maybe, but I don't think we have a free market, have not had a capitalist market, most certainly don't have an open, fair, and free market that's with a neutral, evenly based rules, processes, procedures by which regulators show neutrality across all players, and they apply the application of those rules are applied equally across all players. Meta makes $1 million every 9 seconds. Yesterday's earnings report. Google makes $1 million every 58 seconds, and they own 72% of the social media market. If I send you $100 through Google, they keep $33.33 as a toll, 3%. MasterCard, Visa charge 3.5%, and ExxonMobil charge next to nothing. Something's wrong, okay? We do not have a free market, and I think your generation needs to wake up. Europe, you can look at Europe all you want. There's nothing you can do about Europe. We have so many problems to fix here. We have 4 banks that control everything. We have 3 pharma companies that control everything. One just lost $300 billion in value, United Healthcare, for being a fraudulent corporation. Meta pays billion-dollar fines to the DOJ on a regular basis. The regulators are supporting monopoly constructs. They do not want innovation. There is no innovation. They want to be able to call one man up like Zuckerberg and go, I want to report on Gary Cardone, pull IRS records, send the IRS my records. He admitted this on TV and in writing to his shareholders. Okay, so a public company, pretending to be public, the whole company's owned by one guy. $1 million every 9 seconds. He controls the stock, controls the board, has admitted to working with every federal agency you can imagine, helped distort the message of COVID-19, and attempted or cooperated with an overthrow of a presidential election. Now, we cannot talk about this and look at Europe and go, oh, wow, look at Ursula. She's a complete animal. Well, she is. But this decay is here, buddy. It's not like happening in the next 10 years. This is happening right this second.
Yeah. And it's one of the things that frustrates me tremendously is that my generation is so jaded because every time politicians claim that they're going to be working for them and we elect them into office because they promise to work for us, they don't work for us. And so it seems to me that the only thing we can do is insulate ourselves at the individual level, because the government certainly isn't going to do it for us. They're more concerned with pointing the finger overseas and saying, look at how bad those guys are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, if we're expecting someone in a red tie or a blue tie or a neutral tie to come save us, I'm not sure that we have any history that shows anyone other than the Robin Hoods actually doing any good. And by the way, Robin Hood actually got in trouble. He fought the system. I know everybody wants to not have to protect their own shit, but freedom is not free. You just get back to it. And I think we have taken advantage of our own freedoms for 40 years. And guess what? We are now going to have to pay for it. If you treated a marriage the way we treat our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, our rights, that a company could charge you $33, and you and I are the ones with the content, and we're sitting on a platform that has been paid for 1,000,000 times over and over and over. This is like a highway that has been, the concrete's been laid, there's plenty of available traffic, there's no capacity problems on Google's highway, and they're going to strip $33.33 of the gross. That is like having a secret partner is taking 33% of the gross. That's 45% of the net at least, right? And they pay no taxes, and then I have to pay taxes on the other 60. Come on, man. This is just parasitic, okay? This system, look, everything comes, and this is where you move into Bitcoin. Markets correct everything. Every anomaly, these are professional politicians. They know nothing other than to be a professional politician, a little bit like litigating lawyers who, they have dinners with each other all the time. Okay, they're a club, man. They get paid $400,000 a year. They all enjoy the same stock. They are in the club. They are part of this disease. They cannot help the system. What helps the system is innovation and competition, and we should be screaming at our governments, at our regulatory bodies. The DOJ, the SEC, the FTC, all have failed massive investigations. Okay, independent investigations showing them they're a fascist enforcement organization. They're not protecting and making free markets work. That's all I need the DOJ, the SEC, and the FTC to do. Is make the market free. We're America. Or, no, we're a monopoly construct. We allow 2 players to control every industry. And if you do your history, you will find out in the last 30 years, two companies. Duopolies are the hardest constructs in the world to break. Because there's only 2. 4 or 5, man. That's why the oil markets. Now compare this to a real geopolitical a marketplace that is not constructed by rigid boundaries like Visa, MasterCard, America, and Europe, okay? Oil, natural gas, and electricity work perfectly. No refunds, no chargebacks, no force majeures ever. Energy never stops no matter what you do to embargo it. Okay, you can't buy Russian oil. The Russians sell to somebody down the street. That guy puts a little label on it, and then he marks it down, and it's $30 cheaper, and the Indians are effectively buying Russian crude oil, and nobody knows it. Bango, Trump does the deal today. Hey, you guys can't keep doing that. No one can stop energy from flowing around the world through pipes, right? And you can't. It is illegal for ExxonMobil or Williams Energy to see a constraint on a system and go, hey, I'm going to go grab 33 barrels of oil out of 100 as a tollway because I want to. That would be antitrust, man. Okay, so I think we have 30 years of antitrust, states cooperating with public companies like Visa, who make 51% gross operating margin, and they're a 50-year-old company. They are not a tech company, and they hold zero risk, like zero. There's no one in the world that can show me that Visa and MasterCard have ever lost a penny on any transaction other than the DOJ and the antitrust fines they've paid all over the place. That's not a cost of operating. Well, if that's the cost of operating, then this game now is about who is the largest corporation that can pay the most regulators who get paid by the lobbyists. This is incestuous, okay? So we don't have a free market. What I love about Trump is he believes in free markets. You don't have COVID-19 happen unless it's a very tight gang of people, right? So AI will solve a lot of these issues because these are now massive gaps between closed markets, artificially open markets, and then there's Bitcoin over here. And Bitcoin's kind of like doing something really weird, right? Because it's the North Star, man. It's this thing that's stable and it's not changing. It's mutating a bit. It's morphing into other industries now, real estate, apartment deals, soon to be insurance, automobiles. I mean, it's really fascinating to see Bitcoin is attracting all this inefficiency from what looks like was set up to be a global one world order. And now it's broken apart in 5 different marketplaces. We have competition now. This is great.
It is good. I mean, one thing that I've said is that, well, 2 things. Because Bitcoin is absolutely scarce, that rule is immutable, right? And its rules can't be changed. It's kind of this perfect pricing mechanism for the entire world. Like once we departed gold, 1971, all of this monetary capital had to flee to other assets, number one. And it also gave the United States complete and utter control of basically pricing goods and services all around the world, controlling the price of money. So the price of money hasn't been something that is set by the market for the last 50 some odd years, coming up on 60. So you pair that with Bitcoin's attributes and that other factor that I said that, and you had kind of alluded to it, that basically all of these imperfect stores of value have been created because all this monetary capital that fled the dollar in 1971 flew into other things. And so increasingly, my generation has been priced out of a lot of things. But that's solely because monetary capital didn't have a home, and so it found a home elsewhere, right? Whether it's in overinflating the stock market to a huge degree, making the people that you said control the information highways even richer, even more powerful. Whether it's going into fixed income instruments just because they have to, that are barely breaking overinflation. Whether it's the real estate market, and homes that cost $400,000 in 2000 are now worth 1.2 million in the Northeast in California. And Bitcoin corrects for those 2 things. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, expound on it a little bit more. It corrects for those 2 things. It makes for an accurate pricing mechanism. Now, no one entity can set the price of money. Bitcoin is the accurate pricing mechanism. And 2, it absorbs all of the capital from these imperfect stores of value over a long enough time frame. And that's the phase we're in now. That's what's happening. You mentioned all these products that are being built. Bitcoin is demonetizing these places in real time. And at the same time, it's becoming this monetary metric that the world has sorely needed since 1971.
Now, did I hear you say that people of your generation they've been priced out of the market? Is that the term you use? I think priced out of the market.
Correct. Yeah. When it comes to things like housing or even There was a statistic, Gary. It was of the STEM graduates in the United States, only 13% of native-born STEM graduates can actually find a job within 2 years of graduating. And so you pair that with the fact that basically everything everywhere, whether it's a car, whether it's a house, are so obscenely expensive. They're essentially taking the route of, okay, I'm going to work at McDonald's and live with my parents, which is a nihilistic attitude that I don't agree with.
I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. What you're saying is, hey, 13% of the people coming out of STEM have to wait 2 years to get a job. This has happened so many times before. Like in 2008, I'm 50 years old. I have a child on the way for the first time. And I have every asset that I've collected over the last 50 years trapped in a liquidity freeze up. Everybody and their brother was being laid off on Wall Street. I called some buddies of mine up and said, hey, I'd like to hunt deals for you guys. I got a job within 30 days. I literally flew to New York. Hey, I'll work for nothing. Now, I could have said, hey, shit, I got a liquidity crisis. Look at this shit. I lived 50 years and I can't. That was my decision, man, to put stuff in real estate and equity deals that are now paying extremely well. See, I'm not bitching about me making, $400,000 or $500,000 a month on shit that I had to sit on in 2008 and go, this is killing me, but I made the right moves and I survived through it. I had to dump a 401k completely.
You figured it out?
Yeah, you figured it out. So my point is, I don't think anyone was guaranteed to give you a home that you could afford. And I think you're being given a gift, dude. Like, what is the shame around renting? How old are you?
24.
24. Whoa. If I was 34, I would have zero shame about renting. I would have zero shame about getting married and renting. And I don't know why you guys think that you deserve to buy a house that's overpriced. Dude, you can
I'm talking about my peers. I don't share the financial nihilism, but you're right.
But listen, I mean, I think that it's really worth, because you guys have a really big voice here. And I'm not trying to be a dick, or the older guy but I am trying to say that I have lived in homes that I have not owned and they don't feel different. I don't know who told you this house thing is a good trade. It's not a good trade. It's always been a bad investment. It's a pipe dream of your grandmother's. And it doesn't make the whole world terrible that you can't buy a house that by the way, you will never own that house. The other thing is, owning an $80,000 automobile when you make $60,000 a year, dude, that's fucked up. Okay, why don't you shoot yourself in the leg? I don't think people are going to go shoot themselves in the leg. Okay, you probably get some insurance. Like you're probably going to make a claim. This is illogical, though. Like, why wouldn't you buy a 20-year-old car? Everyone's going, oh my God, America's terrible. Like, I have never seen so many great opportunities in my life when I was growing up, for sure. You don't have to go to college.
No, you don't.
You do not have to go to college. You could be a millionaire at the age of 16 if you had the discipline. And that's all down to, did you have good parents, man? Really? Are you going to work hard? Because this is simply about working hard. Action, taking action, taking action, taking action, taking action, taking action. And while everybody else is sucking their thumb going, wow, I can't buy a house. Awesome, dude. You can buy mine. I'll sell it to you right now. I mean, I'd love to sell it. Because it should have gone into Bitcoin. The house I live in is worth $120 million in Bitcoin terms. It's a beautiful home, but there isn't a room here that's worth $5 million. Okay, and I made a mistake. That was a mistake, me getting into this house, right? In retrospect, and the truth is, the more I say it, I'm like, hey, in 4 years, this house is going to be worth $250 million. So, wow, do I really want to stay here, knowing that this house is going to cost me $250 an opportunity? I don't know, man. It's a nice house, but damn. So I just think that you guys might look at this as an opportunity. I think this is an opportunity, the likes that me and my brother 60 years ago when we were leaving school, it's very, very similar. What's getting ready to happen is very similar to the 70s and 80s. Massive recessionary event. May not show up in the stock price, but people are not going to have jobs. I mean, this is getting ready to, probably in the next 3 months, we're going to start seeing these jobs not renew.
Yeah. A lot of so my peers, right? And the angle that you perfectly described is
40 years old.
The financial nihilists versus the financial optimists. And, I'm so grateful I was raised by my mom. She is just the most wonderful woman on the planet. And she always taught me the value of working hard, right? 4 children. And so from a very young age, and I think you'll appreciate this, Gary, in 8th grade, 6th or 7th grade, I took Capri Suns to school and I sold them. I sold them for $2 a piece. The pack itself cost $3. 12 things in a pack. In college, we got sent home for COVID my freshman year. Instead of moaning and complaining, I hired my buddies and started a painting business. I won't say what I did with that money for security reasons, but you can get the gist. And so ultimately, there are two different.
I'm sure it's sitting in a mutual fund.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, it's sitting
holding G.
Yeah, exactly, holding GE. It's the financial optimist versus the financial nihilist, because we're on this trajectory right now where in nominal terms stock prices are going up. In nominal terms, life is quote unquote getting better, but at the individual level, it's getting worse. It's all that's happened is just a shift in the way that people have to make decisions. The traditional path of going to school doesn't work anymore. Because ultimately, the premise of I'm going to go to school, I'm going to take out a loan, I'm going to get a job right afterward, I'm going to work for 8 years, save up for a down payment, get a house, da 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 da. It doesn't work anymore. Because in nominal terms, the only thing that the Fed, the U.S. government, is prioritizing is positive GDP growth. Even if you have to have negative real GDP growth because you're running inflation hot just to get there. So the people in power don't care. And the moment you recognize that is the moment that you understand all you have to do is just make different decisions. Do I go to school, or do I use the supercomputer that's in my pocket, that we're talking on right now, to teach myself and then go out and publish my research or my work or whatever, build an audience, monetize it, etc. That's the route that I decided to take sophomore, junior year in school, and I'm very happy that I did. But ultimately, it's the winners in today's market with today's paradigm are the financial optimists and the entrepreneurs, the people who take what they've been given, instead of bemoaning it, they actually try to fix it in their own life and take a different route. So I fully agree with you there. I want to talk about Bitcoin. You mentioned we're kind of on the cusp of something 70s, 80s style recessionary. A lot of people have said that since 2008, we've been in a quote unquote silent recession, right? You mentioned the stock market's going to go up no matter what. Essentially in 2008, what was created was called the Fed put, right? So essentially, the Fed has 2 mandates: stable prices, full employment. That third shadow mandate that nobody talks about is it can't allow the S&P to plunge 20%. It can't allow that to happen. And so you've seen throughout history, every single time the S&P plunges since 2008, the Fed comes in to backstop it, right? Whether it is 2019 or 2020 or 2022, the Fed comes in, prints money out of thin air in order to save the stock market. And so as such, every time more money gets thrown into the system, individual quality of life gets worse, GDP goes up nominally, whatever, the United States wins, but the people lose. So would you agree that we are kind of already in this silent recession?
Maybe, but again, these are cycles. We give all these things little labels. I mean, if you take action, it doesn't matter if it's a recession or it's a great time. It's just another time. And I don't mean to be really evasive about it, but I think these economists and all these lawyers and all these pontificators about some of these subjects, it doesn't matter. The question matters, what are you doing? I have 5 projects right now that somebody could make $1,000 a week. That's $5,000 a week. I don't see anybody knocking my door down. It's not like I'm not public about it. And yet I hear everyone complaining they can't get a job. By the way, you guys chose to go to college. Very few people are learning shit in college. And
you want to know the number 1 major today in the United States?
You know
Gary?
it, right?
Undeclared.
What is it? Undeclared?
Yeah. Undeclared or business, which are 2 party degrees.
I don't have a lot of empathy for this. Okay, smart people are I ain't doing this. So you did it. And now you're complaining that you spent 4 years there and you don't know anything about the world. Fuck, dude, it's not my fault, okay? Maybe you partied too much. Maybe your parents didn't give you the skinny, okay? But it's not too late. All you got to do is strap in and go. But a corporation is not going to save you. I mean, a buddy of mine who's extremely well-known, a well-known author in the Bitcoin community, introduces me to a kid that's just right out MBA school. That cat's been looking for 18 months, man. But see, the mistake he makes, within the first 1 minute of the interview, he tells me that he wants to run his own company. And he's 19. Well, oh, so you want to come work for me? I pay you so you can go build your own company. I want somebody that actually wants to learn, right? And like not thinking about, okay, let me see how I can step on Gary and use him. So there may be, just because you go to MBA school does not mean you're going to run a company. Now, you may be left with nothing. If we end up with no jobs, dude, we will see innovation the likes we've never seen. You see, that's the other side of this people don't look at. You smash everybody at home and put them into AI, we're going to see humanity do something different. Because you're not looking for 100% of the people to do it. You're looking for the 1 or 2 or 3% of the humans to do it. The 1 or 2, 3, 4% of the human beings that change humanity. And the question is, are you one of those or not? This is most certainly going to show up as Bitcoin. Because see, 1 or 2 or 3%, we're right. Like you do this long enough, you're like, now I have people looking at me going, dude, you're going to be fucking stupidly rich, right? People are waking up to this now as long as you hold a position and don't lose it. And we're vocal about it. So the 1 or 2 or 3%, I just think the other 97%, you're going to get shit. Come on. It's a bell curve. It is a bell curve. Why don't they teach us this in school?
Because
where are you on the bell curve?
Not
I know it's not politically
correct,
but fuck that, dude. It's reality. And to that point, if you're on the bell curve, just to make sure everybody knows what we're talking about here, it's always been this way. It's not new. It's been like this since Egypt, man. 1 or 2 or 3% sit on a safe side, and 10 or 15% sit on the shit, I'm going to get hammered here. And the people in the middle are just kind of moving around. It's a choice people make. I wasn't born I put myself in the 1/10 of 1%. My family didn't get me there. Right? Now, do I stay there or not? Can I make a difference? I most certainly can't make a difference at the other end of the value chain. I can't. Not really. I don't think I can. Not as effectively, maybe.
No, you can't effectuate change on yourself or the people around you or the world around you if you let life happen to you. You just say, it is what it is. You can if you flip the equation and you essentially unleash yourself, right? Make your own decisions.
Well, I think the first part of that is, hey, you have to not have zero. You have to have no anchors. This is why I hate homes. Home ownership. It's a lie. It's not home ownership. It's home. Stick a anchor around your throat and slowly drown and clean up leaves on the weekends. Like, why you want to do that? You're just getting married, man. Go hammer on the weekends. Don't go do the plumbing and break your back. You'll end up hating her in like 8 weeks, man. I hate this house. And you're not. But it just ruins everything because now you're responsible for something. If you work for me and you come to me at 2:00 in the afternoon and you say, hey, the plumbing at my house broke. I got to go. I will hate you for that. Because I'll look at you and go, bro, it's not my investment. Like, it's fix it later. I didn't ask you to buy a house, right? If you rented, I'd never get that phone call. And you're looking at me like, wow, but seriously, you're working on my dime at that point. Like, who are you working for? You working for me or your wife? You working for me or the mortgage? You working for me or this piece of wood? The piece of wood is not going to generate any value.
Let's talk about, I love that. Let's talk about housing. So we could pivot directly into that. I think a house, it's Americans' largest asset. If you take a look at people's portfolios and you break it down by asset percentage, their house and their home equity is over 50% of it, right? 48 to 52, I believe. People consider this thing to be an asset, but in reality, it's just this massive pile of money that has a bunch of liabilities attached to it. So is it really an asset if there are this horde of liabilities that go along with it, right? You mentioned mortgage, you mentioned maintenance, right? Something happens with the roof, something happens with the plumbing. You got to go mow the grass, got to go rake the leaves every fall. And so ultimately, on top of that, once the mortgage goes away as well, property taxes are going to be there forever. Maintenance is going to be there forever. And so is it really an asset if it has not only all these liabilities into it, and for every however many years of the home, you need to put 5% of the home's value into maintenance. And on top of that, this asset is only doing 3% to 6 or 7% nationally. Even the S&P can get you 12% on average over several years. Bitcoin can get you 30 to 40 to 50% on average over several years. So it's kind of this, we need to do more work on reframing this thing because like you mentioned, it's considered an asset, but it's not. It only stays an asset if you maintain, as long as you keep up with all the liabilities. If you don't, it's not yours anymore. We need to do a lot of education on reframing it because that's what most people strive toward. They strive toward homeownership. I want to own a home. I want to own a home. And maybe one day, right? That would be nice. Particularly when your family gets larger.
One day you will own it.
Yeah. Yeah. But in the near term, there are a lot more efficient places people can deploy their capital. And it's just a home isn't as much of an asset as it's cracked up to be.
Look, 54% of the new buyers this year, 60% are over 54 years old. 65 and over own 80%, 79% of all the homes. 65 and older, okay? 55 to 64 have 7. It's all the old people. Now, all this real estate you call an asset, there's $731 billion of equity trapped. And these old people, one, they don't need that house anymore. It's a problem for them. It's too big for them. They're going to die. They're going to give it to the 4 kids. The 4 kids are going to immediately dump it into the market. By the way, it'll be the biggest dump in history because all these people will die at the same time. Might get accelerated because of COVID. You'll have all these inherited sales, which, by the way, are taxed to death, poorly done. They should be all put in trust this minute. In fact, the kids should be moving the parents and dumping the damn house. That's what they should be doing now. And they should be investing that money into money that will pay for their grandparents' death, their funeral, and any reserves are going to. Where's it going to go? It's going to all get left to the kids anyway. Deploy it into Bitcoin. I see grown men taking care of their 90-year-old father with $18 million. And I'm like, bro, is that all that money coming to you? Yeah. It's sitting in a mutual fund? Yeah. Since $30,000 Bitcoin? Yeah. Well, why don't you go to your 90-year-old dad and go, Dad, are you leaving that to me? Because if you're leaving it to me, can I get it deployed in what I want it to deploy it in? I mean, what, Dad? I wouldn't care, man. But I'm gone anyway. Like, you deployed in whatever. Give him, any man that doesn't do that, like, that's crazy, man. I'm going to give you something, but I'm not going to let you control it now, especially if you're a grown man. This is a 50-year-old man, not a 12-year-old kid, right? So housing is a bad investment. Okay, we're living in a transient world now. There's no General Electric in Detroit that's going to, build neighborhoods anymore. That's done, dude. I mean, it might be SpaceX and stuff like that, but I can be all over the world right now. I don't even have to leave. I'm more productive today than I was. There's a radical shift occurring, and to get trapped in a house and a car mortgage or lease at $800 a month when you make 4 G's, okay? Like, I went on a date one night, and the girl's got a brand new car. I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. 28, 30-year-old woman. She's an artist and a model. And I'm like, what do you make, man? $4,000. What's that car cost? Did you buy the car? No, I $800 a month. So I looked at her and went, you mean $950? Because it's got insurance. See, she left that out. She left that part out, right? Like, $1,000 car, dude. And the girl makes 48 G's. And then you blame us. Like, I didn't do this. I did not make you buy an overpriced car. Your dad didn't teach you anything. Your school didn't teach you anything. Debt is a bad thing. It's like swimming with 30 pounds on your shoulders. Like, I don't know anybody that goes into the ocean and brings an anchor with them. This is the beauty about Bitcoin. It is an anchor that moves. It is a buoy that tethers me into any kind of violence, whether it's economic, political, internal strife from a family member that wants to take something, external strife. If I tether into this Bitcoin anchor for 4 years, the roots in my foundation get strong enough that anything that comes my way, it doesn't anchor me like a house does or a business. It allows me to kind of move and stretch. I know that's a horrible analogy, but when I have discovered that if I continue seeding and laying a foundation of enough Bitcoin, it does not matter how big the waves are. In fact, it doesn't matter if it's shallow. I just move easier. I'm not being thrown around. I'm actually being tethered without being constricted. I am being tethered to some safety. I'm not changing without being restricted. Now, find me an asset that does that. And by the way, I understand this better than I understand NVIDIA's earnings in 2 years. Do not understand Google's earnings. I do not understand how a company in a free market can make $1 million every 9 seconds, be owned by one guy, controlled by one guy, be a reporting agency for the federal government, and still be in business. I can't bet. And even if they are going to be in business, I still won't invest in them. It's criminal. So Bitcoin's this beautiful thing. It's not even criminal. It's not criminal at all. I don't have any human sin. I have no freak show like Mark Zuckerberg stealing data from people, selling it to who knows who. Bitcoin's not taking anything from me, requires nothing of me other than respect. And if I don't respect it, I'll lose it. And that's like, I don't know why y'all are complaining, because to me, now you're going to go, hey, we're being priced out at 103. No, you're not, dude. You just bought an $80,000 car and you want to buy a $500,000 house.
One Satoshi costs, a fraction of a cent still. So, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
You're not priced out of anything.
Exactly. You can buy 10,000. When you buy a house for $400,000, you really only bought like 20 to 100 grand of it. You only bought a fraction of it. You can buy a fraction of a Bitcoin. So you just don't have a partner on the other side that's pissing on you every day going, hey, I need my fees, I need my payment, I need the insurance. Insurance, by the way, for you guys buying houses, strap on. You're going to get completely fucked by insurance, okay? If you're in an HOA, you should dump that son of a bitch so fast. If you own HOAs as some kind of condo trade, I would get out of those trades so fast. It's an unlimited risk that HOAs can go up forever. And they will, man. Because the cost of fixing shit's going to go up forever. Bitcoin is, I've been in business a long, long time. And I just say that I literally left school and I knew I was a hunter. Okay, I knew I was a freaking gatherer, hunter, whatever you want to call it, but it's all I had, right? I felt like I was in a jungle of much smarter people, and I needed to go out and just make sure I didn't screw up. And I've been looking for opportunities like this for 40 years, man. And I have found 4 of them. This is the cat daddy of all opportunity. I mean, I retired when I was 39 years old. Okay, like I could have stayed retired forever. So I've been hunting these big 15-year projects you could just stick your beak in, go all in on. And then you walk away and go, wow, I just wiped up, man. I just like mopped up. And then I get to chill out for 10 years. Read books, study other stuff, study another industry. Now I get to come into Bitcoin, $100,000 Bitcoin. I will buy $100,000 Bitcoin as long as you let me. And I buy it in $10,000 drips, $50,000 drips, $800 drips, $100,000 drips. You have so much information we didn't have 6 years ago. Like I know people coming in. I'm bringing people in 1,000 Bitcoin at a time, man. Okay, these people are animals. When you finally figure out, when people like me and people much richer than me figure this game out, all wealth is built from concentration. It is built from all-in bets. Men leaving Harvard and leaving Brown in the middle of their scores and going, fuck this, I'm going to build something. These are all-in players, man. So this safety around, getting a house, making sure it's safe for little Bobby that's not even here yet. And by the way, Bobby's probably going to have different friends when he's 20 than when he's 2. My kids have lived in 16 homes. They're extremely stable. They're cool, dude. They don't care if we rent them, own them, small, big, yachts, boats, airplanes, no airplanes, air conditioned, no air conditioned. They just want to be loved, dude. They don't care. They'll live in a hotel. And it makes them flexible. right? I got an 18-year-old kid walks through the airport like she's boss, dude. She's been at so many freaking airports. Just got back from a trip in Costa Rica. She's at the freedom of being able to walk into an airport when everyone else looks like they're panicked. For her, it was just like, this is awesome. And everybody's like, oh, you're a child. Do you need help? She's like, no, I'm cool, dude. I'm going to Section 8. I just want to tell your audience, I think this is a monster opportunity, okay? There's jobs. There's millions of jobs in the Bitcoin industry that people aren't considering. These are real jobs, okay? That you're not competing with anyone.
And further, I would take that one step further. I think the biggest jobs in Bitcoin are the companies that have yet to be built. And people who have those ideas can go and build them. You know, for example, the first company
or
my
work
team
for
and I
them.
started.
Remember, there's a lot more people that work for companies that build them, right?
Of course.
And not everybody's going to go build their own company, especially in this space. I would actually be, I will tell you something, dude. I wouldn't build a company right now. I would buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin will be a better, I've only ever built companies. So you're talking to the converted. I don't think I'll ever build another company.
Because Bitcoin is the hurdle rate. 30%. If you can't do better than that 30%.
Well, it's worse than that, actually. It's actually worse than that. If you can't beat 12%, okay, with zero human error, and that's the problem. There is no business that can come to me that has no human error. I have no legal contracts that I don't understand to sign. I don't get a K1. I don't have board people. I don't have to read documents. It's a lot more than just the hurdle rate. And I agree, it's a 45% hurdle rate for me, but there's no company out there paying 12% without me signing documents and getting locked up. I invest with my brother for 10 plus 10. That is 10 years plus 10 years. And it's been a great investment. I make good money from it. Now, if it was all in Bitcoin, it would not be even close to the kind of return. What I do, though, is I take his dividends that he gives me from my investments 6-7 years ago, and I invest all those dividends into Bitcoin, right? So this is where he got this idea. I mean, I'm the one that just, bro, nobody wants the cash anymore. And all of those guys have yet to come to the market. Now, he will, I will tell you right now, he will be at 10,000 Bitcoin within, I would say, 12 months. You will watch his number. It will go from 100 to 1,000 to 3,000, and then, okay, I'm doing 10. I have to do 10 because he will be able to raise money for it, for sure. And the first mover on this trade, but see, that's a cool business. See, that is a Bitcoin business. He's not going to have to add but 2 people. It's not like, see, that's to me no human error. The only risk to Bitcoin in his play will be him. It'll be the people surrounding the Bitcoin piece, right? His double thinking or triple thinking or changing or trying to get smart with it.
And that's exactly what the market is saying right now. For companies that are buying Bitcoin, if they do anything outside of, like if their core business is unrelated to Bitcoin and they do a capital raise and invest in something that isn't Bitcoin, their core business, then the market says that that's a bad thing. Because the market is recognizing this, at least the participants who are buying these Bitcoin companies, right? And so ultimately, what you want to be doing to be a business of the future is have Bitcoin at the core of your operating business, right? Otherwise, over a long enough time horizon, the market will sniff that out and they'll go buy other things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think anybody adding Bitcoin to their strategy, as long as they understand what they're doing, you know, there's a lot of people doing this that may not fully understand. They most certainly will not all be the same.
Yeah.
But the you know, look, you can buy a Popeye's fried chicken franchise or McDonald's, I think, for about $2.5 million. They all kind of change depending on so $2 million, $2.5 million to buy a franchise that I'm going to be strapped with for 20 years. I'm going to smell grease every day. I have so many staff to manage, windows to protect from my very customers that hate me, lawsuits that I most certainly will get. I have to order shipping. I get closed down on hurricanes, got to pay electric bills, $2.5 million. I might make 20%. Come on, man. I wouldn't even go work at Popeyes. I'd just buy $30 worth of Bitcoin every day. I'd go sell Coca-Colas on the street and buy $30, man, of Bitcoin every day. I mean, I would be such a freaking hustler. I'd be so rich if I was 18, 19 right now. I'd be just smashing it. It's so exciting. If you're not going to become a doctor or rocket scientist, I'd walk out of fucking school tomorrow morning and find somebody like me or you, and you go pay those people, get your or don't work for anything, work for minimum wage and be their apprentice. Learn from a master, man. And like there's just so many things you don't need to know. I do not need high math to understand Bitcoin. I don't, man. I need to learn how to communicate, listen, and read. And like if I can do those things, show up on time and ask the boss, hey, what do you need for me to do, man? How can I lower your stress? And it might be simply grab me a cup of coffee now. Like that's part of the deal, right? So, hey, if your space is organized, there's just so many things. I have people here, I'm like, wow, 3 days, you've been walking by that for 3 days and didn't pick it up. This is just about awareness to me, right? And I think it's going to be great. I think all this stress, recession, overemployment, AI, you know what it's going to do? It's going to stimulate guys like you to go, whoa, dude, I got to sharpen my blade.
They are tools. They're not something that can displace you. They're tools.
The rest of you will be destroyed. And there'll be a 1 or 2 or 3%. And 10 years from now, they'll be like, wow, he was lucky. So it's just humanity, man. People do this, but you don't have to be a slave. You do not have to be a slave. Freedom. It's just not free.
Absolutely not. Yeah. It's a fantastic way to bookend it. The last thing that I'd like to ask you is you host the Sunday Church of I Am. Your most recent tweet about it was a quote from Naval that said, I and I alone are responsible for everything I think and feel. I think that's a perfect kind of synthesis of the ideas that you put across in this show and that I've echoed and that I've been following for quite some time. I mean, at least in terms of just being self-directed. Your intention impacts your outcome, right? And so ultimately for people whose intention is to play it safe, that will impact your outcome, right? You certainly can go to school and follow the normal route, but chances are, you talk about the bell curve, you'll end up smack dab in the middle. And so for people with ambition, right? For people who want to do something more than that, you mentioned that, going out, you felt like you were a hunter in the jungle. For people who may be feeling that exact same way, but may feel kind of boxed in right now, that they're kind of following the middle of the bell curve, right? They're following that 95% middle, rather. What would you say to them?
I would say get really, really, really uncomfortable. Just write down on your mirror in your bathroom, I'm trapped. And get angry about it. Like, you have to get angry, man. You need to have some passion. And whining about shit is not passionate because you just keep whining. What you need to do is go, I'm going to drown, fucking. I am going to let my family down. Okay, these people are smarter than me. They got more money. They got more capital. They came into Bitcoin 12 years earlier. Shit, I'm going to get clocked. No, I need to go swim in the pool, man. Don't piss in the pool while I'm there. Make sure I don't get thrown out. Treat it nicely. Get to know everybody. First off, if you're struggling, most certainly show up at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Sunday. Okay, I call it a church, but look, I have been told to do this. Yeah, I know it's the craziest thing. Some rich guy telling you right now, I was instructed to go do this last October, and 4, 5, 6, 7,000 people are showing up every Sunday. I went and looked, hey, how many people are getting together in that kind of volume? There's no bots here. I've done no advertising whatsoever. And there's not many churches in the world today that meet, commune, and all get together. So I don't know why I was told to do that, but I would guarantee anyone that if you show up there and you show up there for 3 or 4 sessions, that there is no chance that your business and personal life will not improve. It will, because now if you want to blame everybody, it's probably, you're not going to be very comfortable. But I just miss having a place to go to. It's not a religious show at all. In fact, I'm thinking about removing the word church in its entirety, but For some reason, I'm being told I do not do that. But the I am part is, hey, if we just look, what you're struggling with is you're not doing what you were fully intended to do here. Depression is because I'm off my path, dude. Like I never found it even. Like I just need to get into my genius zone. I believe every human being, I've never met someone that didn't have brilliance. Might have been crazy as shit, okay? You might have to move through a lot of bizarre, but there's always something magical there. And I have spent too much time worried about the dull parts of me, the parts of me that are a little blunted, instead of the pieces that are just brilliant, dude. We're designed, nobody's bitching about Bruce Willis when he's doing Armageddon and going to the freaking, but 30% of the time, you don't really want to be around Bruce, right? But when you need him, the other thing, quit asking your heroes to be perfect, man. If you quit asking your heroes to be perfect, you'll realize you are a hero. I have so many flaws, dude. If everyone thinks heroes are perfect, then I can't be one. Because I'm actually just human, but I have a couple of sharp instruments. Like I was given some tools, dude, I know how to use better than other people. Like action. Me and my brother do action better than anyone I know. Anyone. Like we just roll. We don't think about it. We don't ask anybody for permission. We don't go to the board. You ask people for so much. Quit asking people for advice that don't have anything, including your parents, man. Your parents can't create your path. I put no input on my children whatsoever what they're going to do. It's not my path. I'm worried they're going to have too much money. Terrified. And I have not yet figured out what I'm going to do there. I might not give them shit because I wasn't given anything, and I turned out good, dude. I'm a good product for society. I'm an added value. Everyone should go to their grave going, I added more value than I took.
Yep. Be a net producer. Wake up every day and strive to be
exactly. Exactly. Bitcoin allows me to do things in a way where I'm not wasting time in a dumb meeting. See, this is my point. Like, if you just hang out 4 years and let Bitcoin seed you, it is financial and life advice. But you got to hold it for 4 years and you got to not have debt. But I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy.
That's right. Always got to add that asterisk. Not financial advice. Gary, thanks so much for the conversation. Always love the way that these things go. Appreciate your perspective. Last things last, where can people find you if they want to find more of your work?
The I Am work is Rumble, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. It's a video, audio thing you can do either way. And you can go back and get recordings. It's a very cool thing. I would just really love to have everybody there. Joe, if you could just repost a link or something, I'll get Dana to get you one. But it is a good... We have some great writers in the late 1800s and early 1800s, and we stopped reading about these philosophers in 1600. Like, there's a lot for you to learn, and you don't need a college to learn how to do. Like, I was in a war, so I know you want to end, but I was in a really heavy-duty battle about 5 years ago. First thing I did was went and re-grabbed The Art of War. I knew. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm in a war, dude. Boom, I go grab the book. See, I know I have tools. I went and grabbed The Road Less Traveled and The Art of War. Bang, and I just read both of them. Just went deep into them. Didn't read 37,000 books. I read the two that I needed right then and there. I most certainly would do that. I would tap into one or two brilliant people. Don't listen to too many people, man. Most people, the fruit does not fall far from the tree. Just look at the fruit. Joe, thank you very much. You're awesome, man.